You are on the journey of business. An entrepreneur and innovator who spent a lifetime of advising from behind the scenes, building businesses through word of mouth and referrals. Now Mike Wolf is ready to share these strategies and business outlook with you. You're here. You're ready for the journey of business with Mike Wolf.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Journey of Business. I am Mike Wolf. Today's guests, that's right, I said guest as in plural, are world changers in real estate as well as the insurance industry, and they both embody the definition of an entrepreneur. Welcome Bronson and Ashley Schubert to the show.
Hello,
Thank
Mike.
you very much.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so excited, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know your schedules are crazy busy. You know, when I started putting this show together in the beginning stages, you guys were some of the first people that I wanted to have on the show. Just pure respect from a distance and up close. You know, I love everything that you guys are doing. So I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Mike. We're very honored to be here and happy we get to be with you and your family at church every single week.
Absolutely. That's so exciting. So I want to tell everyone a little bit about yourselves. I know you've been married 13 years. You have 6 kids. Y'all are just bought a massive ranch. You're doing it all. Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourselves and what's going on in your life?
So, it's kind of funny. I'm more of the outgoing personality in our marriage, and he's definitely more to the point. So you'll see that a lot in our interview, I think.
Right.
That's why we work together. Like God knew what he was doing when he put us together, because our personalities mesh and we balance each other. So it works out great. So in the 13 years we've been married, I think we've bought and sold 4 personal houses. And then on top of that, we just have bought and sold a lot of investment properties, and real estate's kind of our jam.
Right.
I think when we first got married, we didn't necessarily think our life was going to be like this. He was a personal trainer waking up at 4 a.m. to go train clients. And I worked at the Oklahoma State Capitol as a legislative assistant. And we just kind of were living on love. We knew we wanted to have 3 or 4 kids, but we were just happy doing what we were doing. And somewhere along the way, it's like God got a hold of us and shook us, and we ended up on the paths we're on now through some mentors in our lives and just some redirection. And thank the Lord for that, because I feel like we are where we need to be.
For sure.
We've both been on our business journeys for 10, 11 years now. And then on top of that, we've been married for 13. We have 6 kids now. Just bought a 400-acre ranch out in Chandler. So we are literally in the process of transitioning our lives out there while still having our lives here in Edmond, Oklahoma City. We're going to be bi-citial. Is that a word? That's what we're going to be.
We'll make it a word. Let's go for it.
Whatever that means.
So we're
whatever that means.
Both places. Like, we wear a lot of hats. We love our cows. We love nature. We love being outside on our ranch. But we're also like, we love people. We love plugging in our businesses and at church and just like walking alongside people. So we have many facets of who we are.
For sure. I love it. I'm so excited. So listen, I love y'all's business platforms that you are involved in. So I was going to just start kicking some things off with this. How important is clarity and intention in business?
I mean, it's super, super important. I think maybe behind me, you can see some TVs hanging from the ceiling in my office.
Right.
You know, that's clarity on their goals, the team's goals. There's 12 TVs hanging from the ceiling. You can't see all of them, but they have different scoreboards and metrics. And one of the sayings is that we say sometimes is clear as kind, because if you as a business owner have got expectations for somebody, you got to make sure they understand what the expectations are. Yes. And if they don't, it's not fair for you to, hold them accountable to expectations they don't understand.
Yeah.
Clarity and intentionality is everything. You got to have your goals. You got to set your goals, and then you got to be intentional with your daily actions to go achieve them,
Right.
I think a lot of that is popular today on social media from people saying those things, but their lives that they actually live tell a different story.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not common practice, right? You and I dive into a lot of business. So the idea is that you see businesses that really require more intentionality, right? They really require these things and they don't implement them, and you kind of see the holes in the boat of their business.
Right.
At least in my experience.
Totally.
So for sure. Well, that's great, man. I know you guys love helping people. How does that work for you guys personally and professionally? And what does that process look like within your companies?
I think for me, it's just like once I realized in my business, because I've been selling houses for almost 11 years now, and once I realized a few years in that there's a bigger purpose behind it, it
Yeah.
totally changed my mindset. And so that's when I came up with my motto, changing homes changes lives.
Yeah.
Once I realized that I'm not just selling, I'm not just like getting someone from one house to the other, I'm literally playing a role in helping them change their families' lives. And once my mindset shifted to that, it helped my business not only grow and expand, but just become more enjoyable for me because
Sure.
it
Yeah.
was serving a kingdom purpose, if you will.
Absolutely. Yeah. The currency of the kingdom for sure. That's great. So in 2022, you opened Bricks and Branches, Ashley, Realty, with the premise of providing that value, like you said, of changing homes, changes lives. It's incredible to watch from a distance. Can you dive into the mission of your company? And I know you just did a little bit, and the importance of why your culture is different.
Yeah, when I started Bricks and Branches, I really wanted to create a boutique brokerage with the mindset of strength, kindness, and integrity, and just
Yeah.
really honing in on what those three words mean. So, in the real estate industry, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of brokerages that focus just strictly on sales, and I love sales. I love selling, but
Right.
like bigger than that, I am such a huge advocate for women and for moms and just for helping people live their most fulfilled lives, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So I wanted the brokerage to be one, help clients, two, bring on agents who want to improve their lives and live well-rounded, balanced lives and found their rhythm. And then three, support other companies and businesses and like-minded people who are trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so by owning my own, I've been able to do those things. And it feels really, really good to be surrounded by others who are trying to accomplish the same things.
Yeah, and it's incredible because I see you're growing your roster. It seems like every week you're bringing on new agents and they are inspired by what you're doing and the culture that you're creating there. So I think it's just an awesome opportunity to see that in motion for sure.
Thank you. It's been wonderful to see, and I'm just giving God the glory as He works.
Absolutely. So I do want to add a side note. You and your company sold our family home. We loved the experience. Carrie and I, it was a seamless experience from start to finish. We become part of your family,
Yes.
essentially, right?
Yes.
And I mean, you guys were actually on vacation in the middle of selling our home.
Yes, we were in Disney.
And you're taking calls and we're closing deals and we're going this and that. And I was, Carrie was like, please stop bothering her. She's on vacation.
I remember standing in the hallway talking to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were calling us and I was like, she's on vacation, so it's always fascinating to see that. That's not normal, right? You understand that. And I think that in a good way, that's not normal, but the creative juices that you put into your brand,
Mm-hmm.
because you do year-round events,
Yes.
right? For all the people that you sell homes with and you sell homes for and build those relationships, like you said, the currency of the kingdom kind of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's not normal. It's pretty fascinating. How did you come to that idea?
I love this. It's like one of my favorite things to talk about because I'm passionate about it.
Yes.
For me, it just started with why I'm doing this. And like you said, I love how you said you feel like you became part of my family
Right.
when I sold your home because that is exactly what I want. Walt Disney, one of his best sayings is be so good at what you do that other people want to come back and watch you do it again and tell their friends.
Right.
That's what I want to build my business around is to just be so exceptional that I have a family for life and that they want to tell their friends about what I can do to help their family.
Sure.
So a big part of that is like hosting events throughout the year that families can come to and get their picture made, get family
Right.
portraits made. We do an awesome Mother's Day brunch. We do a Christmas event. Those things are just so huge to me because I get to be face to face with my clients 3-4 times a year. Now I
Yeah.
love mailing things. I love texting you guys, but
Right.
I want to look in your eyes. Like I want to
Yeah.
talk to you. I want to know your kids' names.
Sure.
Events are just huge to me and they fire me up. I'm already so excited for this year's events. But
Yeah.
the reason for that is just to keep relationships for everything.
I think it's so great. The touch points, and what you're involved in, I think are so crucial to the referral business, not just the customer service and the touch points on that angle, but like you said, keeping in contact and doing life with people. And I think it's a fascinating concept that a lot of people miss.
I learned that model from Brian Buffini. He's a real estate trainer, and he has a podcast called
It's called The Good Life.
The Good Life. He just changed it. So The Good Life is an excellent business podcast, and that is like what he teaches about.
Okay, that's great. So I do want to just wrap this up with you, Ashley. You're doing public speaking. You've written 3 books, right? You host the Business and Babies podcast. You're in the process of getting your second master's degree. Parenting 6 children. I'm exhausted talking about it, right? What am I forgetting? What am I forgetting that you're doing?
A lot.
I wear him out.
Yeah. What are we missing that I didn't bring up there that you're involved in that we want to talk about?
I started a group this year called The Vine, and it's for other real estate industry women who are moms and love Jesus. And so I'm really excited about leading that group. And then outside of that, like I am writing another devotional right now. It's called Joy in the Weeds. And so that'll come out this year. And that's about a really hard time that I went through last year and how like God's bringing me out of it for the better. So I think it's going to be great. And then honestly, I'm trying to plug into groups and be a participant and realize that I don't have to lead everything because my natural tendency is just to lead.
Right.
And that's good. But sometimes I just need to like sit down in the seat and listen and be a participant. And so I'm trying to do more of that this year.
I know it's good to be poured into sometimes,
Yes.
you kind of reach that season where you're kind of like, man, it'd be nice just to catch a breath, and especially in your case, you're definitely running a million miles an hour.
It's a work in progress.
Right. For sure. All right, Bronson, are you ready? Let's get it. I'm going to start. You're going to have to get in. All right. So you've got 2 State Farm offices that are very successful in Oklahoma. One's in Edmond. I believe the next one that you're doing is launching in Piedmont here pretty quickly. You are the most reviewed. Can we talk about this for a second? Most Google reviewed agent for State Farm in the United States.
Yes.
Right. Can you describe the importance of the touch points and adding value to the customer in the insurance game?
Yes. The insurance game, much like the real estate game, is a highly competitive game. Okay.
Sure.
There's agents on every street corner. There's tons of them, But here's the deal. In business, it's like the little consistencies that done over and over again over time really make a big difference. And so a lot of agents, will work really hard for a couple of years and then they just go to the golf course,
Yeah, they're coasting. Yeah.
And then they have 1 or 2 people in their business that answers the phones, but they don't do nothing more. They don't really serve the customer. They're just on defense, know. And for us, we want to be the best we can possibly be. And so for our customer experience, we're proactively reaching out to customers. We're trying to look around that corner and make sure that they got the proper coverages in place,
Yes.
And then you got to toe that line of like, people say, we're just trying to sell me more insurance, and it's like, well, yes and no. If you need it, you need it. If you don't, you don't. But what we don't want is like a lot of people say, well, I thought that was covered. Well, I thought that was covered, and we don't want those conversations. We'd rather, we want you to be covered. And so we've got an annual review process that we meet with our customers every year that we try to, the ones that want to. And it's a very proactive approach. We also do what we say we're going to do. We got a lot of people on staff. We always answer the phones and we just deliver great experience. We get things done. If we tell you we're going to do something, we're going to get it done. Then we're going to follow up with you a lot of times and let you know that we got it done and it was fair.
Right.
And then the reviews speak for themselves. I think we've got about 2,000 and between both offices and honestly, probably about 4,000. But the way Google rolls is they get some and they just take them away and you got to get more. And it's just the way it goes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I love it. I think what you're doing is really incredible. The touch points, like you said, I believe the customer service aspect of your business, from what I know of it, is fascinating. I think it's above board and you do good quality, moral, and ethically good work.
Thank you.
And I think that that's massively important. And I don't know that that's commonplace in insurance. Let's just call it what it is.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yes.
So that's great, man. So let's talk checklists. I know you a little bit. I know you love them. How important are they to building the foundation of a successful business?
To really build one, you can't really do it without it, in my opinion.
Yep.
Now, you can run a pretty small shop and, if you're the owner, you're kind of running around everywhere, putting out all the fires. But if you really want to grow a company, you've got to have checklists. You've got to have systems in place. If you really think about it, our brains are not meant to remember. Okay, they're not.
Right. Come
They
on.
are meant though to think critically,
Sure.
think about a problem, solve a problem, right? But to remember what I got to do tomorrow at lunch, that's not really what your brain is meant to do. And so
Yeah.
here, on all my businesses, we've got checklists that you follow. So if they write a new policy, a new customer, they've got a new customer checklist, right?
Yeah.
On that checklist is things as make sure in their account page their relationships are there. If they got a husband and a wife, that they're in one deal. They got kids, we got the kids' names. We got the email addresses. All those little things that are very easy to forget. They go on a checklist. And what the checklist allows you to do as a business owner is you continue to build and create freedom, time freedom.
Yeah.
And so if I can hire somebody else and hey, here's a checklist, here's how you do this, then they don't have to learn how to do it. They just got to follow a checklist. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do 100% know what you mean. Yes. So, hey, chasing your dreams is a big thing for you guys. I know you guys are constantly in motion. What is next for you guys?
Go ahead.
I guess we don't know fully. We are expanding our ranch, so we definitely know we want to grow the cattle operation. We're going
Yep.
to be building a house. We've never built a house before. We've always bought existing. So building a house together. We've always wanted our home to be a place that not only serves us, but serves others so that we can host things for the church. We hosted
Yep.
the internship cookout at our house last summer. And how many people do we have? 50 plus?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And it was just
Nice.
wonderful. And we want to be able to do things like that more and more and just to really be a place where people can come and feel welcome and at home. So that's a big deal for us. We want to keep growing our investment portfolio, just pouring into our businesses and honestly just raising our kids well. Our kids
Right.
are kind of getting into the age where our oldest is 10 and then almost 9 to where parenting's changed. We still have babies that need literal physical care constantly. But the older ones we're learning, they actually need us to have talks with them.
Yes.
And they're in they just finished wrestling season and that we had a blast. But a lot of it was teaching them pain hurts. We know that's hard, but you have to overcome it. And this is why.
Right.
And this is what life's going to be like. And that's why this is good for you. So our parenting strategies are changing a lot right now. And we're not doing everything perfectly, but we're learning as we go.
Yes.
And, schooling and just figuring out how to be the parents that God had called us to be. And we're in that right now. We're in it.
I love it. Yeah. Our girls, as you know, just turned 16. They're driving.
Yeah. I've been
It's a
seeing
whole
your
thing.
posts. Yeah.
It's something to, it's something. I don't really know what else really good to say about that. They're, you kind of, like you said, that they need you until they don't need you.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you're used to them coming home after school and now they're going to Sonic every day or Chick-fil-A or, it's a whole process.
It's different.
So,
it's life is seasons.
It is, and this isn't as stretching of a season as I thought it would be, but Carrie's struggling with it more than I am, as I'm sure you can imagine. So it's a great experience. So shifting gears, I know you guys love to inspire others. I believe inspiration comes from finding your purpose, doing what kind of God has called you to do while you're here. Where do you find your inspiration, and how do you inspire others to see the best in themselves, even when they can't see it?
Yeah, that's a tough question.
It's a loaded question. I feel like one of my callings is to encourage people and really encourage women. I think, for us as leaders, it's super important to start our day well. We're both very big on reading our Bibles in the morning and starting with prayer. So I will say that. We're also huge on, we've always been just putting God first, going to church every Sunday, tithing, keeping the first things first. Yes. And I think when you honor God with your first fruits, if you will, He's going to bless abundantly above that.
Sure.
I think that's something that we do, that we've always done and will continue to do.
Yeah.
And we'll teach our kids to do. Encouraging others and inspiring others, I think it's just kind of a flow from what we are doing in life. I think God put us in positions to serve Him, and through that, He's blessed our businesses so we can bless and encourage others.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I will say, obedience is something it is inspiring, so seeing, you guys tie in, and I know moving to Chandler is not close to where we go to church. Let's call it what it is. and you being there every week and serving and being consistent, and your kids seeing that. I think maybe it's hard for you to see that other people see that, so it is inspiring. And that's kind of what I was going for with the inspirational piece, because I do think the obedience that you guys have is wildly inspiring for sure.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, so I had a question about encouraging your kids to understand the kind of like your family mission statement, because I feel like your mission statement, people, maybe I'm misreading it, but I don't believe I am.
No, you got it.
Do you guys have a mission statement for your family that you guys really drive home, other than maybe, I know God first is always one of the big things, because that's how it is in our house. But, is there a mission statement that you really drive hard into the children?
We haven't written one down per se, but I think there's things we really teach them and try to instill in them.
Yeah.
What do you like? Adversity?
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and I think it kind of ties into your question prior to that, but positively influencing others and telling them what can be done. Life is hard.
Yeah.
And it's a lot harder if you do the wrong things. It makes it a lot harder. But it can be a lot simpler if you just do the right things,
Yeah.
And so I think the world will leads everybody down the path of the wrong things. And so for us, we've got to teach them the right ways to do things. You work hard and you earn a paycheck, right? You don't get a paycheck. You earn a paycheck, right? And do those things. And then, when you earn your money, then what do you do with it? The 10% goes to the Lord, the rest 10% goes to you. If you can do a little bit more than that, do that, and then the rest you live on. And I think too, in life, we try to help other people realize that, you're capable of a lot more than you think, right? People always. How do you have, all these businesses and kids on? If you're organized, you're diligent, you're consistent, and you stay on top of things, you schedule, you prioritize, you can do a lot more than you think. And so inspiring others and watching them kind of do more is cool. And with our kids, I think we try to implement that in their life.
Well, something we do that I think is people always say, how do you do that? Is we have dinner around the table with our family every night.
Yes.
Literally almost every single night. We sit around the table together and have dinner and we talk. And that's just always been a priority for us, and it works well. So we're going to keep doing that. And then another thing that I think practically we do better about it in the summer than I think we do during the school year. But we teach our kids how to work, how to earn money. And then we help them divide the money into envelopes to where we'll have tithe, savings, and spend. And he's really good at talking to the kids about this, better than me. But just about, okay, now your taxes come out of this.
Yeah.
This is how that works.
For sure.
Practically teaching them, because let's face it, they're not going to learn it in school.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And then we're also really big about instilling reading into our kids. And so I did a summer reading program with them last summer to where they had to read 15 books. This is the oldest two. And if they did, we got to go do something fun. And I think we went to Get Air and Chick-fil-A. But we're just trying to instill a love of reading into them, because reading is something that is going to serve them their whole lives.
Right.
And we're both huge readers. That's something we haven't said, but we read a lot. Business books. I love fiction also. We listen to podcasts constantly.
Yeah.
So we're just consumers of content constantly, if you will.
Sure. That's awesome. Sponging off of, I love sponging information off of everyone. Like you said, I think podcasts, this is the game changer for me. I never dreamed I would be doing a podcast about business. I've always done behind the scenes stuff. So now talking about business with people every day, I'm fascinated with the journey. And that's kind of how we kind of came to this moment. So
absolutely.
So can we talk family business for a minute? I grew up in a family business. How do you guys juggle all of the things that you're involved in? I mean, I know we talked about, State Farm, and, we talked about the Realty, but you guys have a lot of other irons in the fire. How do you guys juggle all of that and make it all work?
We're still learning, but
Yep.
I would say delegate. Craig Rochelle says only do what only you can do. And when I heard him say that years ago, it just hit me. And
Sure.
So I think that's something we have gotten better about is delegating. He delegates a ton at work. I delegate a lot at home. I have someone clean for me. I have someone who picks up my groceries and does laundry for me. Now, granted, we haven't always had that, but now we do. It allows us to focus on what we can do best and have time for what we need to spend time on. And it also blesses those people by giving them jobs and opportunities that they're looking before. And so
Yeah.
delegation's huge, I think.
Delegation's big, and then also like people talk about having like I don't know, work-life balance or whatever. For us, I
Right.
mean, really, it's just one life, right?
Right.
There's no true balance. Like she's talking to you at Disney World, helping you sell your house. Okay,
Yeah.
we're on vacation and working a business at the same time. It happens
Yeah.
all the time.
And we
Sure.
love that. We're not like, oh, we're on vacation, we can't talk to clients. Like it's who we
Right.
are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot. It's a more of a rhythm. Pastor Josh says that, like find your rhythm.
Yeah.
It doesn't have
I
to
love
be
it.
balance.
Right. It's not
Yeah.
like 5 o'clock hits and there's no business in the evenings. And it's also
Sure.
not like business consumes our evenings either. There's just day to day depends on what's going on, but you've got to be flexible and you kind of blend the two together. You know,
We're kind of unique too. Like I think a lot of couples who are in business work at the same business,
Right.
which looks different. We're like co-entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Where we each have our own businesses, but we understand each other really well because
Right.
we both have the business minds. Now our minds work much differently, and we like get aggravated at each other because our minds don't work exactly alike.
Right.
But I think we are in a unique situation, and keeping God first, family second, and then just realizing that we are entrepreneurs, so we can own our own businesses. And so we can have the lives we want to live.
So good. I love it. I believe that knowing your why is critical to success. Do you believe this? And like, what is your guys' why behind the what?
I think that's an important question. I also think that it's over exaggerated.
Sure. Let's talk about it.
It's just me. Okay.
And that's not what you said. So hear him out.
We're different on this.
Yeah.
For me, I don't have to have a giant why to go build a big business.
For sure.
I'm a competitive person, and I like making an impact, and that's whether that's an impact in customers or employees and team members, or we're able to go buy the latest shotgun I want to go buy, right? Stuff like that.
Right.
I don't have some deep like purposeful meaning of why I get up out of bed in the morning. Now, sometimes I do. You go through seasons where you do. I definitely want a great life for my family. I want to be able to do whatever we want to do. If we want to buy a 400-acre ranch and go raise longhorn cattle and whatever, I mean, I want to be able to do that. But I don't.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like I think creating the life you want to live, whatever that might be, there's no right or wrong answer. I think people get hung up a lot of times in business because they can't figure out their why.
Right.
You want to let somebody know out there that's okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's some people,
Absolutely.
she's going to have a great answer probably of a really powerful why. Made me look really bad. But that doesn't mean she's right and I'm wrong, or I'm right and she's wrong, right? You can do it both ways depending on your personality.
Right.
That's just kind of my 2 cents.
No, you're 100% right. To each their own, right? I mean, and I think everybody's experience in business is different. Ashley, do you have something on that, or?
I mean, I'm not going to expand a lot because, I talked about my company mission statement and the why behind that.
Yeah.
So that helps me. He's much more to the point, like I said, and I love the motivation and encouragement behind a why. I think it's important to write your why down. Now, something I will say that I have learned is that your why can change by season. It used to really bother me when I would write my goals down and then in 5 years they look totally different, and it still bothers me sometimes. But I've gotten better mentally to say that was a season. Now we're in a new season, and our minds have changed in 5 years. Like something I want to talk about for a minute is like 10 years ago, we started making money and we're like, let's go buy brand new cars. And it was great and we enjoyed it. And now we're in the season of that does not work for us anymore. Let's go pay cash for 5-year-old cars, 10-year-old cars. Let's cut this expense out so that we can like live like no one else, so you can live like no one else. Like we've been doing that for a long time. Like we canceled cable before canceling cable was cool.
Was it before it was popular? Right.
Yeah. So we used to go to, when we first got married, like $5 enchilada night at Interurban and share enchilada plate. And he wouldn't let me get tea. And now
can't pay $2 for tea, man. I can make it.
I'm saying, I get it.
But now we're at the point where he's like, if you want a tea, get a tea. And I'm like, yes, I earned that a long time ago. But just like, I think seasonally, our mindsets change. God grows us. We are not the same people we were 10 years ago. Thank the Lord. It's okay for your goals and your why and your passions and your circumstances to change as God changes you.
Yeah.
Right. That's powerful. I love it. So we talked about you guys loving to read. We talked about mindset. Napoleon Hill says you become what you think about. How does mindset play into your businesses as leaders?
Man, that's everything. Okay.
Come on.
I mean, you'll hear like some people know that I have a saying, I eat adversity for breakfast. I'll put videos on there, our power
Right.
will shut down in here randomly or
Yeah.
the computer, whatever. And for me, like my team, the average person, it's very easy to just gravitate towards negativity, right? Like the day's ruined, and for me, you got to just make light of it. But for me, in my team and my businesses, mindset is everything. I've got to coach to mindset all the time. If we control our thoughts, then we can usually control a lot throughout the day and our success. If you're kind of negative thinking, then your results in business are going to be negative. And so for me, we do a lot of things. We read books as a team. They're all self-help books. We have huddles throughout the day. We're all positive. Somebody does something good. We celebrate that every day, multiple times a day. But I know how important mindset is. And so therefore, I've got to teach and coach that to my team members and make sure that they're controlling their mind. So if I hear them get negative, like a customer was super mean to them, they're like, they're trying to help the customer will listen and whatever the case may be. And they get all mad.
Sure.
I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Positivity, right?
Yeah.
Positivity.
Don't lose sight of the time.
They're like, shut up, but then all of a sudden they'll laugh, and it'll make light of the situation. They're like, all right, you're right. Let's go on, let's help the next person we can help.
Right.
But anyway, those are some practical examples. But every day, that's why we start off reading our Bibles. We read books all the time because you've got to feed your mind the right things. Because we don't watch TV, we don't watch the news. She said she looked at the news the other day. She's like, "How do people watch this stuff?"
It's like I watched it for 1 minute.
You turn it on for 5 minutes, it just like drains you. All this it's like really all that this negative. And so you got to constantly pour good stuff in, and pour good stuff in, and that's important.
Yeah, man. That's so good. So I know I've talked to you guys about this before. The show that I built here was built around the return on investment of failure. How important is failing and learning from that experience, and how have those moments shaped you guys?
I failed a lot.
Oh gosh. I mean, I'm still growing from this. People ask me like, how do you become resilient? And I'll tell them it's like from failing and learning over and over and over again. And it's not that you just become an expert at it. You just become better at getting up faster.
Correct.
You can look at it in the way of you never fail. You either you win or you learn.
Yep.
We tell our kids in the wrestling tournaments, they've had a couple tournaments where they don't win medals. And we tell them, you ain't learning if you ain't losing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I think that applies to life and to business. For me, last year, I had to start a brand new brokerage unexpectedly while 6 months pregnant during the summer while raising 5 kids. And it was not planned, but it was something that has grown me so much as a person. And now looking back on that, I'm to the point where I can say, I'm glad that happened. God, you knew what I needed, even though if you paid me $1 million, I wouldn't go back there.
Yeah.
Like God knew what he was doing, and God cares way more about our character than he does our comfort.
Come on.
So while you're sitting in your uncomfortable situation, like God is saying, I'm growing your character.
Right.
I see the end goal, and you got to go through this because I can't just take you where I want you to be while leaving you where you are.
Yeah.
So resilience and that grit, it cannot be learned. It cannot be learned down the easy road, unfortunately. I wish we could just take the easy road and learn all these lessons, but we can't.
Right.
We have to, it's like that iceberg illustration where it's like everybody sees the success, but at the bottom of the iceberg, it's like failure, mistake, learning. That's what people don't see, but you have to have that to get to where God wants you to be.
So good, because I think people think it's easy, right? They see you winning. And I think that's the hard part because people don't post about losing, right? They don't post about learning. That's not popular, right? Nobody wants to see that. No one cares about that.
You can't be scared to fail. The only way to succeed is you got to fail a whole bunch of times. So really the game is who can fail the fastest and the most often. right? Because the more you do that, the quicker you're going to figure it out, you know. And most people get so scared because they're scared of the failure, they don't ever start. And you just gotta you can't worry about the failure because it's going to happen, you know?
Right.
And as long as you learn from it, then course correct.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, man, that's so good because, like I try and explain to my girls, we talk about it a lot because I lead youth in the church. You think you guys know that I've led high school for 8 years there now.
For you to do that, yes.
And so like, hundreds and hundreds of kids are at church every single Wednesday night. And, they're not learning anything about business. They're not learning anything about what it takes to win or lose gracefully, and I think it's such a weird moment to be in because I think as business owners, you want your kids to understand what it takes to win, but you also want them to understand what it takes to live and to make it happen and then to provide value. It's such an interesting time we're in. I don't know how else to put it other than that because, like I said, I mean, I pray over these kids every single day because they're just not getting what it takes to do what we do, and I think we grew up in a different time and access is everything. And so it's definitely an interesting time. So
yeah, absolutely.
That was my soapbox moment. So be careful with that. I'll be careful there.
Yeah.
So on education. So, I've been praying about this interview with you guys for a handful of weeks because, I was telling my wife, I admire how you guys do life. I know you guys, it's inspiring. Like I mentioned earlier, I find my inspiration in listening to speakers and podcasts and sermons and stuff like that every week. And, Mike Todd from Transformation Church up in Tulsa, he's great. He's dynamic. He's wild. He said something recently that made me think of you guys, and I hope you're in for it. So real quick, it said, what is the difference between somebody who understands the kingdom and somebody who is a Christian? Christians want God to solve their problem, while kingdom citizens have been given the authority by God to solve the problem. But when you're unaware of the power, your level of domination is limited. And it really just made me think of you guys because I think you see it differently and a lot of people don't, right? And does that make sense? Or am I hitting that on the right note that makes you guys hear what I'm saying?
That's such a Mike Todd thing to say. Like, yeah, I can hear him saying that.
Yeah,
I think it's perfect.
I hear people say all the time, I'm just waiting for God to give me the answer.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to pray about it. Now, I mean, you got to pray about it, but you also got to take action.
Come on.
Let's see, one of my verses I got hang on the wall is Proverbs 10:4. It says, lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Okay?
Come on.
It's on my wall over there. But, you've got to take the action, and God will give you the power, right? God will open the door, but you got to do the knocking, right? You can't sit at home in your sweatpants eating Cheetos and try to act like you're going to go do something and you're just waiting for God to open the doors. No, you gotta go out and get rejected. You got to go out and take action. You got to go fail, like we talked about earlier, right?
Right.
And seek God's wisdom and seek His direction. But too many people just sit on the sidelines and they don't do the action. The action part is the hard part, but God's got all the power. I mean, we knew we would hope to and had goals to be successful in business, but I think if we were to look at this 10 years ago and be able to look into the future and see this, we'd probably be pretty blown away, right? But we could, without God and all the blessings that we've had and the diligence and all that thing, and He rewards the diligence,
Right.
I agree with that.
And I think like a lot of people don't talk about where it started and how hard it was. Like he was a butcher in a meat market making $5 an hour.
$7.25 an hour, baby.
Come on.
And I was a waitress for like 6 years. And when we think back to how those jobs shaped us, oh my gosh, like work ethic. For me, like people skills. For you, just working in something uncomfortable, but getting the job done. Like don't look down on small beginnings because those might help propel you to where God sees your future is going to be.
Right.
And I was just thinking about like going through hard times. As a parent, it's so hard to watch your kids fail. And it's so hard to watch them go through things that you wish you could shield them from. But we just talk about all the time, like we want our ceiling to be their floor, right? Like we want that for them, but they have to pave their own way. They have to fail. We can't want them to be developed people and not them never fail. So you can't be afraid to let your kids fail, to to watch them learn, to watch them make mistakes. But, we can be the example for them that, it can be done.
Yeah. That's so good because, I mean, I thought the Mike Todd thing was really powerful. It made me think about you guys. And, I tell my daughters all the time, no is a tough answer to hear, right? Especially when you're young. People don't understand that. But, like I try and explain to other people in business, it's like, especially in customer service businesses and stuff like that they go out and they hear no and no and no. They want to give up after the first no. But wonder if I told you on the 26th no, right, that that's going to change your life.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be trying to get 25 no's as fast as you can get them to change your life at 26. And so, I mean, whatever that number is a number that's set by God. It's not a number that's set by us. So, I mean, I'm just truly fascinated by the mindset play of that. And I just thought really that Mike Todd deal with the Kingdom Citizens thing, I thought it hit strong for me when I was really kind of praying about this interview. So I'm really just grateful for y'all and stuff like that. So I just thought it was powerful.
It was great. I love it.
Absolutely. Well, hey, finally, can you guys tell me where we can find you online? I will have all of your links to everything that you guys are involved in on all the bio and stuff like that. But can you tell us where we can find you online?
So I'd love for the women specifically listening to listen to my podcast. It's called Business and Babies. Oftentimes I'll interview other women and occasionally men who are doing business and motherhood and life simultaneously. And I'm just now getting into a season where I'm actually doing like Bible teaching episodes. So I'm releasing one this week and it's called When Your Test Becomes Your Testimony. And so on the podcast, you can hear things monthly and just encouragement. So, and then I'm super active on Facebook. Find me on there, just Ashley Schubert, and also on Instagram.
That's good.
Yeah. And for me, you can find me at bronsonIsMyAgent.com and also on Facebook as well or Instagram.
That's awesome. Well, I'll have links for all of your
books on Amazon.
Okay, absolutely. I will have links for all of that stuff so you guys can pick up everything that they're doing online and have all of that in the podcast. So I will definitely make sure that that's on there for you guys.
I forgot to tell you, Mike, he has a book on Amazon.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about it? Or Bronson, what are you holding out?
Yeah, it's called Insurance 101, How to Have a Bad Day, Not a Bad Life. Okay. It's an easy read. You can read it in one setting, 70, 80 pages, something like that.
Okay.
It's just a high-level overview of the insurance world, okay? And not many people want to read an insurance book, okay? I get that, right? I mean, it's how boring can you be? But I made it kind of, somewhat fun and interesting and short and sweet, high level, high points. What kind of insurance do you need? What do you not need? How does it work? All that kind of stuff. And it'd be something good like if you're a high school student, you can read that and understand, and it would really impact you. Because like we talked about earlier, you hit it. The schools don't teach it much on business, finance, or managing your taxes, nothing. And so it gives a little bit of hints on not just insurance, but money habits and taxes and different things like that. So, yeah, you can find my book on Amazon.
Okay, that's good stuff. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys taking the time. I know how busy you both are, and you're constantly running in a million directions, but I'm thankful for you taking the time. I'm truly appreciative, and I'm so excited to see what's going on with you and your family.
Thank you for your grace on us as we've been moving and in the process. So thanks for your grace on getting us scheduled.
Absolutely. All good. No, I'm thankful for the time.
We're thankful for your family, thankful for our church, thankful to do this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys again. Thanks for everyone checking out The Journey of Business. We'll be back next week with another incredible guest or guests at this point discussing their journey. Have the best day.
To continue your journey of business, subscribe to the show wherever you find podcasts or at YouTube. And for more information on consulting inquiries, go to www.tradelinkSales.com.